Hello world, welcome to episode 52 of the Jimmy Canz Show. It is that time of year, my friend. It is bowl season.
52 episodes.
Yeah, 52 episodes. You believe it?
I feel like I should have said something 2 episodes ago.
What was that?
I should have said congratulations 2 episodes ago. But congratulations.
So who is in? We know who's in. That was decided on Sunday. And before we get into it, real quick, we'll do a recap. Yesterday, the inaugural Myrtle Beach Bowl took place. We put our picks for that one in the comments of the TLC prediction video. Both Rodney and I went with Appalachian State. You can see that in the comments from that thing. We're not retconning here. Did pick App State, and App State did win the inaugural Myrtle Beach Bowl, so congratulations to them. So we've got 25 bowl games to get through here, Rod, so let's get into it, my friend.
Let's tear down through them. Let's go.
It is the 20th anniversary of the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Later this afternoon, the 22nd, 3:30 this afternoon on ESPN from Boise, Idaho, Albertson Stadium, the Mountain West's University of Nevada Reno Wolfpack at 6-2, taking on the Americans Tulane University Green Wave at 6-5. Who you got, Rod?
Well, I'm gonna start us out today. I feel like Nevada's gonna get this one.
Yeah.
I like how they didn't look in this year.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that. I think Nevada, like, they haven't played as many games as Tulane, but they seem to be a little bit more consistent. In their outings, that they have had,
exactly,
kind of up and down.
Well, as a rule of thumb, in this season, I kind of favor the team who has the least amount of losses, because I feel like losses really affect the culture, and when it gets tough, that's kind of a tiebreaker for me.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's consistency. You know what I mean? Like I said, they've been a little more consistent. I mean, like I said, they haven't won them all, but they've just been a little more consistent, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So next up, roofclaims.com, Boca Raton Bowl, right down 95 in southern Florida, Boca Raton, Florida, Howard Schellenberger Field at FAU Stadium, 7 o'clock this evening, the 22nd on ESPN. The American University of Central Florida Knights, 6-3, taking on Brigham Young University Cougars at 10-1, coming in ranked 16 in the CFP. I'll kick this one off. I am going with Brigham Young.
Yeah, and I know I sent you my pick, and I highlighted the wrong pick here.
You did. Because, you said UCF.
I said UCF, but on record here today, our first 2020 effect, I'm actually picking BYU. That's what I meant to pick. Right. So everybody, when you see UCF, know that it's not Jim's fault. I pulled a Steve Harvey and sent him UCF.
I hear you,
I'm
brother.
picking BYU.
Yeah, and that the quarterback play that they've been getting out of what is it, Zach Wilson?
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, and their one loss, that was a nail biter against Coastal Carolina. I mean, that was like shades of that Rams Titans Super Bowl where you stopped inches shy of the goal line.
Yeah, and like I say, just they haven't lost a lot, and they played a lot of games. So
one game, yeah. BYU lost that one game on a nail biter.
Exactly. So they got a culture of winning, so I expect them to fight hard for a long time.
Well, here's the thing with BYU. They were a program that was, very well respected, and then they've come on hard years for a while now.
Yeah.
And I think they're looking to reestablish themselves in the national picture. So that's why I think they're going to be playing harder. To show that this isn't an anomaly, that they're actually back.
I like it.
So, all right, RL Carriers New Orleans Bowl tomorrow, the 23rd, 3 p.m., Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana on ESPN. Conference USA gives us the Louisiana Tech University Bulldogs at 5-4. The Sun Belt Conference gives us Georgia Southern University Eagles at 7-5. Fairly even matchup I will kick this one up, and you go ahead, Rob.
All right. Well, in this one, I like Georgia Southern.
Yeah. I'm gonna go La Tech. I think they've been a little more consistent, and I think all in all, top to bottom, I think Conference USA is a little bit stronger conference. I think some of the top teams in the Sun Belt might be a little bit better, but I think the bottom feeders in the Sun Belt are that much worse.
Gotcha.
So the Substitute Bowl, this is the only year we're going to get it, the Montgomery Bowl 2020. This was supposed to be the inaugural Fenway Bowl, but because of COVID, they canceled that, and they're throwing this one in as a substitute bowl game. I mean, this is a first I think we've ever had a substitute bowl game from Montgomery, Alabama, Crampton Bowl on the 23rd, 7 p.m. on ESPN. Florida Atlantic University Owls out of Conference USA 5-3. University of Memphis Tigers out of the American Conference at 7-3. So 2 3-loss teams, one with a few more wins. I'm going Memphis.
I'm gonna ride Memphis with you there, man. I like, I just as a program, I'm looking at the bigger picture too. I just like Memphis' program overall. I know they have a history of success within their conference. And FIU, I think they're trying to learn how to turn their culture around. This will be a big win for them, but I like Memphis.
Yeah, I mean, you also have to look at it. This is two schools also this is both schools' first year with their current head coach.
Yes.
So it's like trying to establish, but I think there's been a little bit more consistency over the years at Memphis.
Absolutely.
So the New Mexico Bowl coming to you on Christmas Eve at 3:30 on ESPN from Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas. Yes, you heard me right. The New Mexico Bowl coming to
Frisco,
you from Texas.
Yes.
Only in 2020. The Mountain West University of Hawaii at Manoa Rainbow Warriors 4-4. The American University of Houston Cougars at 3-4. Who you got, Rod?
Well, I would like to point out, first of all, that 2020 has given us real life bug glitches. So
just the New Mexico Bowl in Texas.
In Texas. So I'm gonna go. For me, I even though Hawaii has one more win, they're pretty even. I like Houston's program, so I'm gonna pick Houston in the New Mexico Bowl from Texas.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on this one. I think Houston as well. Again,
and they don't have as far to travel because it's in Texas, even though it's in New Mexico.
It's in Texas. They don't have as far to travel. Don't have the jet lag, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to be in agreement with you on this one.
All right.
So the Camellia Bowl up next, back in Montgomery at the Crampton Bowl, Christmas afternoon, 2:30 on ESPN. Marshall University Thundering Herd, 7-2 out of Conference USA. The State University of New York at Buffalo Bulls out of the MAC at 5-1. I'm going to say that Peterson kid out of Buffalo. The kid's a heck of a back. I mean, he only had one bad game. He had that one game where he had 8 touchdowns and 400 and some odd yards on the ground. I'm taking Buffalo. That kid, he's going to put the team on his back.
Yeah, I'm sticking with programs here. So I think traditionally I like Marshall's program over Buffalo's program. So without a whole lot to go on, I'm going to go program over program.
Yeah,
so
like I said, I'm just taking the one athlete. You know what I mean? Like, especially in a college game, that one athlete can make a difference.
He scored 8 touchdowns. So
yeah, as I said, he scored 8 touchdowns and ran for 409 yards in one game alone.
Al Bundy times 2.
It's crazy. Next up, Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl on the 26th at noon on ABC from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. We got our first SEC team, the 2-8 University of South Carolina Gamecocks, taking on Conference USA's University of Alabama Birmingham Blazers at 6-3.
You know, this was tougher than it should have been for me because obviously it should be UAB just based on record. I mean, the records are so stark. But because South Carolina is out of the SEC, you got to consider the athletes that's on the roster. So it was a back and forth, but eventually I decided to fall on a team who's used to winning more. So I'm gonna go with UAB because I feel like South Carolina, if you're 2-8, that means that it won't take a lot to break you. You know what I mean? Your only way of winning, in my mind, is front running. So if UAB can fight them a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you. I agree with you on this one. I'm going UAB. South Carolina, they let go of their head coach during the season as well. So they got the interim guy in there right now. There's not a lot of stability, in that program. And I really don't see, what these kids are going to be playing for. You know what I mean? In South Carolina, whereas UAB, like I said, they were a program on the brink of death. They're only a few years removed from the school wanting to completely do away with the program. I think every time these kids go out there, they realize they're playing for their,
something bigger.
Kind of playing for their lives, more or less. Like if we start to struggle and we don't look good, they're gonna just pull the rug out from under us. So
I agree.
I'm going UAB as well. So next up, the FBC Mortgage Cure Bowl right here in Orlando, Florida, Camping World Stadium, Saturday the 26th at noon on ESPN. The Liberty University Flames, 9-1, unranked in the CFP, but ranked elsewhere, taking on one of the Cinderella stories of this season, the Sunbelt's Coastal Carolina University Chanticleers, 11-0, ranked number 12 in the country. I'm gonna say they finished strong, and try and show that they're a program to be reckoned with in the future. I'm going Coastal Carolina.
Same, exact same. I wish they would have got a chance to play a Power 5 team.
Yeah. Well, they did.
No, I'm talking about in this bowl game.
Oh, in the bowl game?
In this bowl game. I was at this bowl season somehow. You know what I mean? They could have matched them up with somebody.
Yeah. Well, honestly, in this crazy year, Rod, I mean, tell me if you think I'm crazy and off base. I know they usually only take one group of 5 in the New Year's Six. Coastal Carolina deserved a New Year's Six bowl game.
Yep.
Both them and Cincinnati. You know what I mean? So if this was a year to do it, it should have been, because who wants to, honestly, outside of the actual family, who wants to see Iowa State in a New Year's Six game?
and by putting Coastal Carolina, and no knock against Liberty, I see they had a great season. But the name, you gotta have a dancing partner. If you let Coastal Carolina 11-0 play against somebody with a historical name, that's it. Could have been Tennessee. It could have been Wisconsin. You know what I mean? But I just feel like that would have really put that program over.
Yeah, I look at that. I feel bad for them. Like I said, they deserved a New Year's Six this year, in my opinion. Yeah. So next up, the Serve Pro First Responders Bowl, the 26th on ABC, 3:30 in the afternoon, Gerald J. Ford Stadium in University of Texas. The University of Texas at San Antonio Roadrunners, 7-4 out of Conference USA, taking on the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. Ragin' Cajuns, 9-1, ranked 19th. And I forgot to mention this on the last one, Coastal Carolina and Louisiana are co-Sun Belt champions because their championship game got canceled. So I'm gonna. Where are you going, Rod?
All right. Yeah. So as you can see, I'm gonna go with Louisiana Lafayette. I like the 9-1 culture of winning. Yeah,
I agree. Like I said, I just don't think the Roadrunners aren't going to be able to match up with them this particular season. Plus, they didn't quite have the same kind of preparation for this. They were supposed to be in another bowl game that got canceled, and then they got, plugged in here. So prep time was, they were prepping for one team, and then the rug got pulled out from under them. So
it's effective. It's effective.
Yeah. So next up, the Lending Tree Bowl from the Lad People Stadium in Mobile, Alabama on the 26th, 3:30 in the afternoon. ESPN, Western Kentucky University Hilltoppers, 5 and 6 out of Conference USA. Georgia State University Panthers, 5 and 4 out of the Sun Belt. I'm going with the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, full disclosure. I'm biased.
I know you're biased.
Western Kentucky over Georgia State.
Yeah. I think the Hilltoppers, again, like I said, this isn't a knock, so to speak. But like I said, I just think Conference USA, top to bottom is a deeper conference.
I agree.
All right. The Cheez-It Bowl here in Orlando, Florida now. Bowl game has been relocated. If you like orange, you're going to like this bowl.
And it's in Orlando, and it's cheese.
Yep. You have the orange Cheez-Its. You got both teams in orange. Orange everywhere.
Yeah.
This is on the 29th, 5:30 ESPN. ACC's University of Miami Hurricanes coming in ranked 18th at 8-2, taking on Oklahoma State University Cowboys out of the Big 12, ranked 21, coming in at 7-3. Where you going?
Well, it's a tough one. This to me, this is the first real kind of heavyweight game that I'm going to be, got my eyes glued to.
Mm-hmm. I think this is our first head-to-head ranked matchup, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So, and both of them are kind of coming off losses that, you want to see how, because Oklahoma State, they just lost, right? They coming off a loss.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Miami. So, with that being said, I just picked who I hate less. Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, I'm going Miami. I think the Hurricanes, they're a program that's still trying to kind of show that they're back. So I think they're going to be playing harder.
Now, the one thing I will say too is that they have less distance to travel.
Mm-hmm.
With it being in Orlando.
Yeah.
It's coming from Oklahoma. So.
Yeah. All right. So now we got the Valero Alamo Bowl from the Alamo Dome in San Antonio on the 29th, 9 o'clock in the evening on ESPN. Big 12, 20th ranked, 6-3, University of Texas Longhorns, taking on the University of Colorado Buffaloes, 4-1 out of the Pac-12. They were what? They were the they were looking like they were going to get into that Pac-12 championship until they stumbled there at the end.
Yeah. I like Texas.
Like Texas? You know what? So do I. So I think, they've played more ball games this year. So I think that they're more cohesive. Whereas the Pac got off to such a late start.
And that's actually a big variable for me. Like they just played more games. You know what I mean? So.
I mean, it can work for you and against you. It just depends on how you look at it. Like some people look at it like, oh, well, they're going to be fresher, but you also need those games kind of knock the rust off sometimes.
And it's not that many more or less games to where I think it could affect fatigue or stamina. But I do think that every game you learn a monumental amount.
Yep, I hear you. All right. Next up, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. All right, you're going to win this one and get yourself a big old bowl of mayonnaise.
Wow.
So
have it before the game, and let's have a contest of who won't puke first.
Yeah, who won't puke. So ESPN on the 30th at noon, Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. You can't say Charlotte, North Carolina and not go woo. Woo!
Woo.
Sorry. ACC's Wake Forest University Demon Deacons, 4-4. The Big Ten's University of Wisconsin Badgers at 3-3. I'm going with the Big Ten in this one. I'm going with the Badgers. They didn't have the season that they really wanted. They stubbed their toe in a couple of games, but they still got a real good defense.
And I feel like program for program, Wisconsin's pride is not going to let them lose to Wake Forest.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like they'll find a way there to start running the ball. And, I just think they're a better program.
Yeah, like I said, they're going to run the ball, control the clock, play strong defense.
And they're not going to, I just feel like they're going to do everything in their power not to lose. They just got too much pride as a program.
Yeah. Yep. All right, next up, Trans Perfect Music City Bowl, coming to you on the 30th, 3:30 in the afternoon on ESPN from Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. Another Big Ten team. This time it's the University of Iowa Hawkeyes, 6-2, coming in ranked 15, taking on Missouri University Tigers, 5-5 out of the SEC.
All right, I'm rolling in the yellow. I'd call this the Yellow Bowl.
The yellow and black bowl.
Yellow Beezy. Iowa Hawkeyes.
Iowa Hawkeyes.
I got them over Missouri.
I will concur. I'm going with Iowa.
Because although Missouri says SEC, they're not really SEC.
Yeah, I'm going Iowa as well. I just, I think that they've been a little more consistent this year.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, the first of the New Year's 6 bowl games. This one, not on New Year's Eve, on New Year's Eve, on the 30th, 7:15 in the evening, AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas, the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, the SEC's runner-up, University of Florida Gators, coming in ranked 8th, the record of 8-3, taking on the Big 12 champion, Oklahoma University Sooners at 8-2, coming in ranked 6th. By God Almighty, I'm gonna go with old Boomer Sooner.
I'm telling you, because first of all, Florida, I would never. I don't care. I just take the loss. Like if they was playing a pop, I'm gonna pick a pop. I'm just take the loss. I would never in my life pick Florida. Plus, I like the way Oklahoma look though. I like the way they're looking. Their defense look like it's showing up. Florida's playing well, but me personally, I feel like Kyle Trask is not what I just feel like there's not a lot of stars this year, so we have to have someone. He's kind of winning and putting up a lot of stats, but I mean, I see him for what he is. I see it in context. So I think Oklahoma's going to be fine. Florida got athletes; they could pull it off, but I would never.
Mm-hmm. I think it'll be a good matchup.
Exactly.
But I think like looking at the way the season went and everything, like Oklahoma seems to be trending up. You know what I mean? They had some losses earlier in the year, and then they've rattled. You know what I mean? So they're trending in the right direction. Whereas Florida, it's a little up and down. They had some late losses, and then they lost in the SEC championship. So
and some of the mistakes that that Shoegate. Like,
exactly.
Do you deserve to win this game after doing that this season?
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's you've brought it up. In other videos and stuff we've done, the momentum.
Yeah.
Factor, and I think Oklahoma's got the momentum.
Exactly, they're playing at a high level.
Yep. Next up, Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl on New Year's Eve at noon from M&G Carter Stadium in Fort Worth, Texas. The American gives us the University of Tulsa Golden Hurricanes, ranked 23rd, coming in at 6-2, taking on the SEC's Mississippi State University Bulldogs at 3-7. I mean, this is a weird year because you don't need winning record to be bowl eligible.
Yeah.
That's
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just too much losing. Like 3-7. That's just too. I could never bet on you. At 3-7.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm taking Tulsa again. The momentum factor.
Yeah, 3-7. That's too much.
They Tulsa. They were the American runner-up to Cincinnati, and they played Cincinnati tight. You know what I mean? It was a good game. So again,
they only lost 2 games.
Yep, consistency.
Exactly.
The Arizona Bowl, and this is a bowl game named for a state actually being played in that state. What a novel concept.
That's the first one this year.
Yes, the first one this year. So we've got New Year's Eve, 2:00 in the afternoon on CBS from Arizona Stadium in Tucson, Arizona. The Mountain West champion, San Jose State University Spartans, 7-0, ranked 22, taking on the MAC Conference champion, Ball State University Cardinals, coming in at 6-1. So this is 2 conference champions going head to head. I think this is going to be a sleeper bowl. You know what I mean?
And I think it's a chips on a lot of shoulders here. I think both of these guys trying to,
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to say though, I'm going to say San Jose. I think they're a little bit like Coastal Carolina, kind of having that Cinderella season.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm rolling with you, San Jose State.
You're rolling with San Jose as well? Yeah, like I said, when you're a program that is not historically, a juggernaut, and you're having one of these types of seasons, it's hard to pick against them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's that, college football is about emotion. So, AutoZone Liberty Bowl up next, New Year's Eve, 4:00 in the afternoon on ESPN. From Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium in Memphis, Tennessee, the United States Military Academy Black Knights at 9-2, aka Army, taking on the Big 12's West Virginia University Mountaineers at 5-4. Army didn't look like they were going to get a bowl game there for a while, and they came in and said, no, we're going to substitute out a 3-win SEC team for an actual winning program.
and for me, I'm going with that winning program. I'm going with the Army Black Knights.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with Army. Again, Army's having a good year, and those triple option teams, man. If you're not used to it, it's tough to defend it.
Get your eyes caught in the backfield. Get caught looking at all the window dressing.
Exactly.
And it's out the gate.
Exactly. So next up, the Macari Texas Bowl, New Year's Eve, 8 p.m. Energy Stadium in Houston, Texas. Big 12, Texas Christian University Horned Frogs, 6-4, taking on the University of Arkansas Razorbacks, 3-7 from the SEC. I am going with TCU on this one.
Yep, I'm with you. TCU. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just too much losing. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's 3-7.
Yeah, like I said, I don't care what conference you're coming from. You're a 3-1 program. You really shouldn't be. There are other programs that should have been. There, I'm sure there are other programs with at least 500 records that didn't make the conscious decision to opt out. That would have been a better option here.
Absolutely.
Another New Year's 6 bowl game, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. New Year's Day, 12:30 in the afternoon, from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. The SEC's University of Georgia Bulldogs, 7-2, ranked number 9. The American Conference champion, University of Cincinnati Bearcats, ranked number 8, coming in at 9-0.
Hey, this is gonna be a good one.
Yep.
And I went back and forth for a minute. But I think that running game from Georgia gives me more. It makes me feel more safe. It's less risk, less chance of intercept. You know what I mean? If the game turns out to be a hard-nosed game.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Cincinnati. I think this was a tough one. To go against Georgia. The only reason I did it is I think Cincinnati's going to have a chip on their shoulder. They're pissed.
Yeah.
You know, that they
Yeah.
they beat everybody they lined up against, and not only did they not get into the top 4, but they didn't even get into the top 6.
Yeah.
You know,
So well, and
I mean,
that,
if you're outside of the top 4, does 5, 6, 7, 8, does it really matter? Not
respect
really.
wise, but respect wise.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me my respect. I had them highlighted. I went back and forth with the highlighter a couple times between these two. But at the end of the day, I just had a vision of Georgia's run game.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
You know, and I think a little bit of history played into this for me too, because that undefeated season, that UCF had a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and they beat Auburn, right?
Yeah, and everybody said, "Oh, it's going to come to an end." They're playing it, and they went out there and they did it. So
yeah,
precedent's kind of been set.
Boise State back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Verbo Citrus Bowl up next, back here in Orlando on New Year's Day, 1:00 in the afternoon on ABC from Camping World Stadium. Speaking of Auburn, the 6-4 University of Auburn Tigers out of the SEC taking on the Big Ten runner-up Northwestern University Wildcats, 6-2, ranked 14th.
Oh
yeah, Ron.
I'm gonna tell you, man. Northwestern to me is like for real. Northwestern ain't no joke. I got Northwestern against like most people.
Yeah, I agree. I got Northwestern as well. They gave my Buckeyes a run for their money in that Big Ten championship game. I didn't think we were going to do it there for a while the way we were playing, but Pat Fitzgerald's a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
And Auburn, who's coaching them?
Exactly. All that.
Well, no, and that's what I'm serious. Like, who's the interim coach?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. All those variables.
Yeah. So I'm with you on this one. I actually read a report that a couple of NFL teams that have some coaching vacancies are interested in Pat Fitzgerald.
Mm. Okay.
So next up, the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl from TIAA Bank Stadium in Jacksonville on Saturday, the 2nd of January at noon on ESPN. ACC's North Carolina State University Wolfpack, ranked 23, coming in at 8-3. SEC's University of Kentucky Wildcats, 4-6. I'm saying NC State.
Yeah. Okay. I think it might be kind of easy.
Yeah, I just these 3 and 4 win teams, but more so than 3 and 4 win teams, but 6, 7, 8 lost teams.
Lost 7 times.
I know it's a weird year, but come on.
Yeah,
come on. All right, the 35th Outback Bowl on the 2nd at 12:30 in the afternoon on ABC, Tampa, Florida, Raymond James Stadium. Another team that has been opening eyes this year, Big Ten's Indiana University Hoosiers, coming in ranked 11, record of 6-1, taking on the University of Mississippi Rebels out of the SEC at 4-5. Where you going, Rob?
Yeah, I think Indiana's for real. Indiana's a good team, very good team. I don't know if they're a good program yet because that'll be told over the next few years. But
yeah, I agree.
A very good team. So I
agree, and as I said earlier, that I thought both Coastal Carolina and Cincinnati deserved New Year's Six bowl games. Indiana deserved a New Year's Six game.
Agreed.
The way that they're playing this season, it would have been a better matchup. Putting Indiana in over an Iowa State or a North Carolina.
I would have loved to see Indiana and Texas A&M. That would have been the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would have been the game.
Yeah. So, we'll see. Like I said, is it they're having a good season or are they finally turning that program around?
Exactly.
Time will tell. All right. Next up, the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl on the 2nd of January, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The Big 12 runner-up, Iowa State University Cyclones, 8-3, ranked 10th, taking on the Pac-12 champion, Oregon University Ducks, ranked 25th, coming in with a record of 4-2. Weird year again. I mean, Oregon didn't even qualify for the championship game and was put in as a substitute because the team that actually qualified couldn't play.
And this is the Fiesta Bowl. This is the Fiesta Bowl. We're not talking about the Q-Tip Bowl.
No. I'm not saying Oregon was put into the Fiesta Bowl as a substitute. I'm saying they got put in their conference championship game as a substitute. They didn't qualify.
Yes. and they wound up in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, and then they wound up in the Fiesta Bowl. I mean, I think actually the biggest winner out of this game is likely it's both teams because, those players get those gift baskets, and I'm sure that there's going to be PS5 in there, and those are like gold because nobody can get them now.
Yeah, you get into the big gift baskets now.
Yeah.
Time passes.
So let's do some picks here.
All right. Well, I like Iowa State.
Yeah, so do I. Like I said, I think Oregon just. I don't think they have enough under their belt this year. I think they're still trying to kind of get their legs under them, and now all of a sudden, high-profile bowl game.
I think that's a lot to ask for those kids.
Yeah, I will concur. All right, another New Year's Six, the Capital One Orange Bowl from Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida, on the 2nd. ESPN, 8 o'clock in the evening. ACC's University of North Carolina Tar Heels, 8-3, ranked 13th, taking on Texas A&M University Aggies out of the SEC, 8-1, ranked number 5. What you got, Rod?
Well, I want to start by saying, I want you to tell them, Jim, where was my stance on Texas A&M at one point in time?
Let's say a few years back when we were doing these bowl prediction shows with a friend of ours on his YouTube show, Milo Beasley show. Rodney was a little salty about a certain coaching move and said as long as he lived, he would never pick Texas A&M to win a game.
But here I stand today, like Rocky at the end of Rocky 4, where if you can change and I can change, maybe everybody can change. We're going to Texas A&M.
Yeah.
I mean, we beat North Carolina, so I can't pick them. That was.
Yeah, I agree. I say Texas A&M again. It's the momentum factor. They dropped that opener to Bama, but then they've rattled off, every game since then.
And they got a big chip on their shoulder for not getting included in the with Notre Dame getting picked over them. So.
Well, here's the thing, though. Notre Dame played in their conference championship. And Notre Dame beat the team that beat them. So but you know the context that Texas A&M is going to put that win in, right? They were at home, double overtime without Trevor Lawrence. When they played Trevor Lawrence, they got. But here's the crazy thing with that game is if you went back and you watched that first matchup and everything, they didn't have bad quarterback play, Clemson.
But that's what they're gonna say though. They're gonna say the whole, the effect in the locker room, the leader's not there. He's not there. So,
yeah.
And then when they played with him the second time, that'll back up what they feel like they're saying because they destroyed them with him.
Right, but I'm just saying, quarterback play wasn't the reason that they didn't win that game.
Yeah, it might have just been the whole culture of not having him really suited up.
Yeah, and but what's funny is over the last few years, since the CFP started, everybody goes back and still uses the old BCS formula to see what the BCS would have done.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that article. The BCS had the same top 4 as the committee.
It all
so
worked
with the BCS,
out.
So with the BCS formula, Texas A&M was still 5. So for them to turn around and that's that's all computers. That's totally
And I'll also put this in there with me though, for as far as Notre Dame is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Because we played them this year and I watched them all year. Like I felt like all year they were skating by.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like they had a season where they had like a lot of stuff. And I know they got Ian Book and they got different. But just looking at them when we played them, I feel like we started James Blackman and was competitive for a while.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So just looking at what's really on the field, I know that we're not competitive at all with Clemson.
Yeah.
So
all right, now we get into it. The CFP playoff games. First up, the Rose Bowl game presented by Capital One. Again, 2020 strikes. New Year's afternoon, 4:00, ESPN. The Rose Bowl coming to you from Arlington, Texas at AT&T Stadium. The number 1 ranked SEC champion, University of Alabama Crimson Tide at 11-0. Taking on the ACC runner-ups, the University of Notre Dame Fighting Irish, 10-1, ranked number 4.
So let the bodies hit the floor should start playing right now.
Yeah.
Because mean, good.
Yeah.
I already tipped my hat.
What?
I already tipped my hat. You already know how I feel about Notre Dame.
Yeah. Yeah. I really don't see this one being close, to be honest with you.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah, I don't see this one being close. I don't think Alabama is, quite the same program it's been in the past, but I still think they're, an overall, more complete product right now.
Yeah, they're living low. They're living low. I mean,
yep.
They're doing all right.
Yeah. And the other thing is the committee said that they decided, because normally they put the top seed in the closest geographical, to them, but obviously they didn't here because, New Orleans is closer to Alabama than Texas. So, and their rationale was that because of, state regulations and stuff like that, they're allowing more fans in Texas. So they wanted to put the top seed where they had the bigger crowd. That's what they said. But honestly,
I know that they are allowing fans at boxing events in Texas.
Well, yeah, no. What I'm saying is, I think they're going to allow like 12,000 fans.
Yeah. In
AT&T Stadium.
Yep.
Whereas they're only allowing 3,000 fans at the Sugar Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, so the public-facing thing, they said, oh, that's why we put Alabama in, here and not. But honestly, it was already decided that the Rose Bowl was going to be played earlier in the day than the Sugar Bowl.
Gotcha.
And I think the Sugar Bowl, at 8:00 on ESPN, presents a more competitive matchup.
Gotcha. Yes.
But they couldn't say that.
Hey, but that's true though, because you don't want that you don't want that Alabama slaughtering on prime time.
Yeah. So you got the ACC champion Clemson University Tigers, 10-1, ranked number 2, against the Big Ten champion, 6-0, ranked number 3, the Ohio State University Buckeyes. What you got, Rod?
I think when they're fully loaded, nobody can beat Clemson. I got Clemson.
I got to go with my Buckeyes.
You got it's say it with your chest. Say it with your chest.
Exactly. But the other thing with it too is, we were right in it with them last year. That was what, was it a 5-point game? And we were driving. And it was, a not on the same page, situation. It wasn't even a bad, decision by Fields. Like, he was releasing the ball thinking the receiver was going one way and the receiver cut the other way. And there was a pick in the end zone. You know what I mean? So, we were right there.
And y'all haven't lost yet either.
And and we, like I said, we got some momentum going in. I think, this last game, like I said, we struggled early, but I think those early struggles kind of helped us find the running game again. We've been beating people, off of the arm of Justin Fields for the most part. And then all of a sudden, like, things weren't clicking, on Saturday. And it was like Trey Sermon was like, okay, just hand me the rock. And, 300 plus yards later,
he would turn all the way up.
We pulled that game out. So, like, it's like, and I think that's the sign of a good team. If one thing's not working, you can go to something else.
Yeah.
You don't have to rely on just the one thing.
That's why I think if you Alabama, you like that Florida game this last week, right? You know what I mean? But at least they dominated. They beat them pretty good, but at least Florida came back and pushed them.
Mm-hmm.
Had a hold on them. You know what I mean? You couldn't just completely front run and just shut it down. You had to get some rounds in.
Yep. So that takes us to the national championship game on January 11th, 8 p.m. on ESPN from Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. You've got Clemson taking on Alabama. I got Ohio State taking on Alabama. So that being said, Zeke Elliott was like Forrest Gump, ran all over the great state of Alabama. I think Ohio State can do it again. They get there. I'm going Buckeyes.
All right. Well, as I mentioned before, I think when they fully loaded, nobody can beat Clemson. And you made a good
LSU
point.
did last year.
I know. I'm talking about ridiculous. I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about looking at what they're all up against right now. And you made a good point about Alabama earlier, which is I don't think they're the program they had been.
Uh-huh.
I think that Clemson still is. I think they lost that game because I look at that loss. That loss really told me a lot about them. Like I know it was a quarterback play, but that's the leader of your team. Like, to me, Trevor Lawrence is the Heisman front runner, and to not have him to go on the road in Notre Dame in this year and fight them to double overtime with a kid that was playing high school football earlier this year, even though he's big and everything, you know what I mean? To go out there and rally around him as a team and almost pull that out. And now when you put the head back on that monster, I feel like it's and Trevor, he's fired up too because he had to miss them games. So it's all that. It's kind of just, I feel like with the momentum and the weapons, I think it's too much. So we'll see. We
shall see. So there are our picks for the 25 remaining bowl games this year. We got 52 episodes in the year. I didn't think I was going to be able to average out one a week, but I guess we were able to do it.
Good work, man. That's good work.
So, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, we hope you're doing well. Have a fantastic holiday and a great new year. We will see you guys next